says you're in the show, everyone can see and hear you at where I'm seeing it at the bottom.
Okay.
I don't know if that means we're live yet. Oh, it says we're going now.
We're on.
Ah, sorry, I just blew that, folks. Didn't mean to.
Well, I had a little thing going there, and I was, by the way, welcome to Story Behind the Music. I'm Darren Story, and I had a little music set up to play and all that.
Sure.
But that's okay. I am really happy to be here with Matt Fink, but you also may know him as Dr. Fink, keyboard player for The Revolution. And Matt, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I've been trying to do these kinds of things in the midst of our having to stay at home mostly, and it's a good way to connect with people.
It is.
Yeah.
For me, I've really become acutely aware of one's mortality during this time, personally, and family, and the importance of it. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
No. And there's a lot of reflection going on.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of gives us a chance to breathe, take a break. It's actually probably a much needed thing that, is a blessing in disguise.
Indeed. Kind of a reset, pushing the reset button, maybe.
Exactly.
So I want to know, first of all, how the band has been doing. You guys have been going pretty good, but I saw you had to cancel a lot of shows you had over in the UK. When do you guys think you might be able to pick it back up? Have there been any indication on when you guys might be able to start again?
No. And we also were going to go back to Japan too for the first time since 1986 as a group.
Oh, wow.
That was set up in April here just this last week of April and early May. But that's all been postponed, of course, and the tour in Europe in the summer that was originally planned in July. So, of course, we're all disappointed, but we're all in this thing together, and we know all of our colleagues and our fans and other artists and their fans are, we're all in this boat. So all we can do is just do what we need to do and get through it,
That's right.
But, hopefully, next year, we'll probably just do it next year when we can, and we'll work on it. And that's everybody will have to do that, but people already had some shows booked in 21 starting, but now they'll probably be able to do those earlier in the year, I hope. But here's the thing. It's really dependent on two main factors, and that is a great antiviral thing that we can all get if we get sick, that will help us get over it, hopefully, and quicker and easier. And then, of course, the vaccine, if they can really pull that off. So that's where we are, because really all of us are really, who knows how we're all going to get through it, if we get ill. I mean, the way they're talking now, they or the government or the experts, we're at that talking about 80% of the population possibly coming down with this thing over the next year. So I don't know. It's kind of, it's like
a little murky, right?
Right, guys? What?
So it's a little murky.
It's kind of murky. Yeah, it's a little murky. So
indeed. So time to reflect, Matt. Let's go back for those people that, and I know you probably told these stories plenty of times, probably ad nauseum, but let's go back to the first time you met Prince. Where did you meet him, and under what circumstances?
Well, I met him actually the day that I auditioned for the band. Yeah.
That was the first time, huh?
First time I ever met him face to face. Yeah.
And what type of audition was it? How long did you have to play? Did you already know some of his stuff, or what did that look like? Or did you just want to hear you play?
Well, first of all, you got to remember this is October of 1978. He'd already put the first band together without the last piece, which was a second keyboard player. Mm-hmm. He did have somebody he wanted already that actually someone I knew quite well also from Minneapolis, and he thought about doing it, that particular keyboardist, and then he opted out for whatever reason. He was just one of the most talented guys out there, to keyboardists from Minneapolis, and that's Ricky Peterson, who comes from the very, very well-known Peterson family of Minneapolis. Right. And Paul Peterson, his younger brother, was in The Time, in the Purple Rain movie, and then the Family and all that stuff. So, and the rest of the family are all just, the greatest musicians in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area anyway, and now world famous. But regardless of that, he just opted out early on, and then the door opened up for me and any other keyboardist to audition. They kind of were auditioning people before Ricky, and then even after me. But I remember I went in for the audition, and I must have been there a good 2 hours.
Wow.
He wanted to jam. He wanted to feel it out. Like, the first thing we did was just jam. Nice. We didn't even play any of the songs off the first album yet. And they basically instructed me to learn the single, which was Soft and Wet, and My Love Is Forever, and a couple more off the album. And then, eventually we played them. But when it came to doing Soft and Wet, I really was having a little bit of a problem with that one, because you couldn't hear the rhythm keyboard part properly in the mix. It was there, it was funky, it was great, but when you listen to it, it's really tricky. So I just looked at him. I said, well, I'm having a problem with hearing it in the mix. Do you think you could show it to me? And he goes, sure. And I said, great. So he started showing me the part, playing it for me. And within about 5-6 times watching him, keep playing it, and me kind of being up on the upper part of the keyboard trying to copy him, I was getting it down, and then I had it down enough to actually play the song at that point. So I think that really impressed him, because he told me after that, he said, you're the only keyboard player that was able to do that part at the auditions.
Nice.
All the people that I auditioned. And I said, you're kidding. I go, well, I just had to say, yeah, but nobody had the balls to tell me they couldn't hear it in the mix, and could I show it to them? You're the only guy that actually said that. And I went, really? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, what can I say? That's how I operate. I'm not afraid to, say, hey, I can't hear it. What are we going to do? I said to him, I said, you have a chart for it? And he goes, oh, I don't read charts. I don't read music. And I go, okay, no problem. He's completely ear trained, but when he was younger, he did learn how to read music, a bit. His father, and
right.
He learned. He knew chords. He knew theory. He knew how to say, hey, play an A minor 9, and this leads into the D7, and then the next chord, blah blah blah, and then play these lines. But he never gave me chord charts. It was always, here's the tape, go learn the song, and come back to rehearsal. That's just how it went. Unless I was fortunate enough to play on the song in the studio with him, or co-write a song with him. So wow. Other than that, that's how we operated, and that was great. But that's how a lot of artists are, musicians. And a lot of them aren't readers of music. It's all ear. They write by ear, and they don't read. And,
Do you think, Matt, that is people that learn music like that are gifted like that they feel sometimes theory or reading limits them, or they're being able, there are no rules? Because I played with a guy, guitar player by the name of Kevin Pierce, a fabulous guitar player. He didn't read or anything like that. And he told me once that I don't know of any rules. I just feel. If it feels good, then I play it.
Yeah, that's how. You think Miles Davis was writing stuff? He was one of the greatest jazz improvisers of all time. But all the great jazz greats and all those guys. Some of them were incredible songwriters, and they wrote it all down, and they would transcribe everything. They would improvise too, and they would have people transcribe it for them, or they would do it themselves, you know.
Mhm.
And then when you go back to the great classical composers like Mozart and so forth, and we all know from watching the Mozart film that he could write symphonies right out of from his what he was thinking to his pen,
Sure.
going down on paper for each orchestral part without having to hear. I mean, it's like hearing it in his head, all layered with everybody, and then writing those down. I mean, that to me is astounding. And the only other, there was another musician I worked with, actually, an orchestrator on some projects, a good 20 years ago. He could listen to symphony music and then transcribe the parts as they were playing in the correct key and know which note, because he had perfect pitch. So he could be writing the parts down. If he had to relearn something, because we were working on a whole album of the authentic science fiction movie themes like Star Wars and Superman.
Sure.
We were recreating them and re-recording them on synthesizers and orchestral sounds. And I brought him in to help with it because I wasn't of that level where I could just transcribe and write it down. I could hear it by ear, and I would learn a lot of the parts, and I had him do stuff. But he would write the stuff down as it was flying by. And I worked with another gentleman like that who had perfect pitch, who could transcribe Steely Dan song charts on the fly as the song is playing. Yeah, there's the chord that's going by, and he's writing them down as they go by. Very, very, that's rare though. It's kind of rare. And those are people born with perfect pitch. And that's, they can hear the key without having a reference. Like if I play middle C on the keyboard and then I play a G, I can tell you that's a G if I know you're playing the C first. That's called relative pitch, as you know, Darren.
Right.
But perfect pitch is when it's just boom, and you can hear everything and know what it is without having that reference point.
I can't even fathom what that's like.
And Prince, I believe Prince had that. He never really told me like, hey, I think I have perfect pitch, Doc. He never did that. But it was obvious because I witnessed him in the studio thinking the part and laying it down, either whether it was on the keyboard or the guitar or the drums, whatever he was doing. And it would flow right there, first take every time. It was unbelievably astounding. Like the genius that he is, I believe he's on the other side and still doing it. But the issue, yeah, I mean, he was one of those guys, one of the greatest artists I've ever seen work or play. I mean, there's other ones that are great, Stevie Wonder. I mean, there's a lot of people in his sphere, that came before him and after that are gifted as well in that way. But truly prolific and astounding in his talent, really.
Were you by the way, we're on with Matt Fink, Dr. Fink, of The Revolution. Matt, were you ever not astounded when you were around him?
I became complacent after a while, because you're in the midst of this greatness all the time, this genius, and then it just becomes, second nature, and then you're expected to, I got to keep up with this guy, and oh my God, and play this, some of the most difficult keyboard riffs of all time, like the solo at the end of When Doves Cry. That's like a masterpiece synthesizer solo that he put together, So the song Lady Cab Driver, there's an amazing synthesizer solo in that he did. So I'm just saying, the guy could just put that stuff out and just, like it was nothing, Oh, here we go. Boop.
Wow. I know.
Think it, play it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw you guys on the tribute a couple of weeks ago on the Grammy tribute. Prince.
Yeah.
You guys did a great job. When you do those things, though, this is something that I've wanted to see. This was the closest to, when you see Sheila and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis at the time, and you guys. I really want this all Minneapolis, this old Twin City, come together and blast for him and let the world see that, because I'm not sure people still understand the community the music community in Minneapolis and how prolific it is. It was. I don't know if people really know that. What do you think?
I think a lot of people do know that and realize that just, besides Prince, there was a whole nother sphere of artists that were coming up when he was coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and doing it, and in all genres, not just the the R&B pop side and rock side like Prince was. There were just great numbers of people that didn't get national attention, but locally they were huge.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they could have broken out. There were a few that I really was disappointed that they had major label deals, and then for whatever reason they didn't quite get as big as they could have internationally. But I'm not going to name names,
okay,
at this point. But there just are. There's a few
understand. Keep it classy. Keep it
sure.
classy.
Yeah.
So, do you remember your first gig, the first show with Prince?
Absolutely. Yeah, like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday.
Tell us about it. Where were you?
We played at the Capri Theater, which was located over just north of downtown Minneapolis, not too far north of there, and kind of where Prince is. That was kind of his stomping grounds up in that area, and this was to be a showcase gig for the people here locally, but primarily for the Warner Brothers record people. They wanted to come in, fly in from LA, and see us perform for the first time as a group. So you got to remember, it's about January 5th, I think. I can't remember if it was the 5th or middle of the month. I know it was in January, like in the coldest possible time you could have anybody from LA fly in. It was awful. So so they come in, and we're going to do 2 nights in a row. And I can't remember if they were both nights or just the second night, but they may have been there for both shows. But I do remember the first evening being a bit of a disaster because Des Dickerson, our guitarist, was using a very early form of FM wireless guitar transmitter.
Oh, wow.
For his guitar. He wanted to use so he could be wireless. Well, this thing was picking up police radio during the show. So, for the first few songs, we'd be in, the song would end, and then you hear 10-4, buddy, come on down to Central Avenue. We got a thing happening on the robbery, coming over. And so that happened during the show. So Prince, I swear to God, he stopped the show. Literally for about, it was interminable, like 5 minutes, maybe 6, 7. I don't remember.
Oh, God, that's an eternity.
It seemed like eons. So we're all standing there and nothing's happening. And Prince is literally standing with his back to the audience and not talking.
Oh, wow.
Well, Des is trying to get his shit together, and he's got getting a cable. He didn't have a cable handy, so somebody that was helping us, you got a cable, get me a cable, damn it. So we're going through this, and then finally Bobby, I think Bobby is looking right at Prince because he's in front of, standing in front of Bobby. Bobby goes, right. Prince, you gotta talk to the people, talk to them. So Prince goes, okay. And Prince, he's like a deer caught in the headlights. He's never done this before. Like he'd been a front man in other bands and sing and stuff, but he never ran into this problem where, oh no, we're dead in the water because there's a technical problem. So he was a little panicked, but he, as we all know, boy, did he learn from that going forward. But okay, I mean, he turns around, he starts telling the audience, hey, hi, everybody, how's it going? Sorry, we're having a little technical problem. Finally, he's saying something, but it was funny because he let a good 2 minutes go by with dead silence, and it's dark up there. We're going, oh no, what are you doing? Okay, so it's great. Prince, we love you. Oh my God, it was so classic the first time in front of, come on. You can't beat it. So anyway, the next night we did the show. It went flawlessly. And of course, it's 20 below zero out there because it's January.
Oh, I know.
And the president, this is the president of Warner Brothers, the head president of A&R was there, and the head guy, and another guy. There were like 3 of them came in for this. So the next day, they went back to LA, and then they reported back to us, and they said, Prince, it's good, but you're not ready yet. Just it's time to do the second album anyway. Polish your band up, go back, get your second album going, get it recorded, and rehearse the heck out of that group, and you'll be great. They're great players, but we only rehearsed for like 2 months before that show. Not even that. I was in the band. He brought me in right in first week in November, I think.
Wow.
First or second week of 78. And then we were playing just after the new year and doing that set of the first album.
Incredible.
So, it was okay. I mean, we did okay, really. We did for what it was. But they were right. And then he got the second album done. He went out and recorded in LA. He did it all himself. Everything. He didn't have one band member out there. Maybe Andre. I think maybe Andre was out with him for a while. I don't remember if Andre actually played on the album. He doesn't have credit on there. Am I right?
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it was all Prince, just like the first album. So he comes back with that, and again, here's the tape, guys. Start working. And we said, okay. So that was it. We hit it right in the spring, late spring of 79. And of course, that first band was Gail Chapman, Des Dickerson, Andre Simone, Bobby Z, myself. And we rehearsed that pretty much that summer of 79, all that summer, like 3 months straight. The new album, the first album, and then we hit the road in like September or October, right in there, September. And it was just a showcase club tour on the East and West Coast and a few down south. And we got about 3/4 of the way through the tour, which started on the West Coast and kind of went down the coast and then down through Texas and then up to the East Coast and culminating in parts of New York. But we missed like about 3 cities like DC, Boston, and something else because Prince got a terrible case of laryngitis.
Oh, wow.
And he couldn't function. So we had to cancel those last 3 dates. And then we didn't make them up. But because we did so well, we got an offer through our booking agent, and our management managed to find an opening slot with Rick James that starting in November of that year. And that's when we got our first big break as an opening act for a headliner like someone of the caliber of Rick James.
What was it like, Matt, opening for Rick? I mean, Rick was hitting it, and Rick was really hitting it on all cylinders right about then. He was, I've been the opening act, and sometimes the headliners don't like it when you might be putting a little foot in there. As the opening act. Was there any of that competition on that tour?
Yeah, there was. There was. But to me, I didn't think that way. I never looked at it as a competition ever.
Really?
I always looked at it as just, hey, we're the opening act. I hope we get more popular because of this. Great. Oh, we're getting a break from the big guy. He's helping us, get known. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm not trying to compete with you. I don't feel like that. I don't think you're already established. You're marvelous.
Right.
Rick, yeah, I'm Rick James, bitch. You can't mess with, right? So it's like you're just going, wow. I whatever. I never felt that way. But Prince, on the other hand, he's like he is competitive that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting.
Oh, I know. I remember when we first started playing in Minneapolis, and there was a band called Vision that was playing. You may remember them, Matt.
I do.
They ended up turning into The Crash. They got a deal on Capitol.
I remember them too. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was interesting because we were from Kansas City and they were from St. Louis. And we all came up there because, well, we could afford to go 400 miles up I-35 versus trying to go to LA. But Minneapolis was really popping though, 1985, 86. And, and you guys were, of course, we know what you guys were doing. But I tell you what, Vision and us, and it was pretty known that we were trying to kill one another, figuratively speaking. And we both ended up getting deals, which was great. But it was a lot of fun, but it made you practice, because we would go to Club Cedar and see them, and they blow our face off, and we like, we got to go practice.
Oh, sure.
That's what we.
Well, I got to tell you, I've been honest with you. When we first started touring with The Time, and I believe it was opening for us with the Controversy tour. Oh my God!
I heard stories.
They blew the doors off the joint every night. Every night.
Jimmy and Terry would tell us some stories about those tours. That they came to kick ass.
They did
every night.
They did, and they kicked ass. But we held our own. But that was like, here's our band, and this is The Time against us. They were kind of always pushing the envelope, and we were like, Prince would come and go, all right, you guys, you see what The Time did tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. I love that.
Game on.
Game on.
Game on.
Love it. Love it. I mean, I so relate to that. And I think most bands, especially when you're in the clubs and you're cover band or something like that, you're just trying to establish yourself. You're trying to just, stick your flag in the ground and say, hey, we're here, and you're going to have to deal with us for the time being. So let's fast forward. First gig, that's a great first gig story. I mean, that's one of the best first gig stories I've ever heard. The police scanner. I mean, police.
Yeah.
But Matt, as you're watching, as you're part of this, and you're in it, and you're watching the phenomenon is Prince, and you're part of this. Did it feel like sometimes that you were outside of your body watching this happen, and you really weren't like, this is so, when you guys really blew up to the proportion now that we know, what was it like for you personally?
Say that again?
I said, when you guys...
No, the last sentence, you were breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. What was it like for you personally when you realized, wow, we're freaking large?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. That was, I would say, really 1999 tour was when things were really doing that, where you're going, oh my God, we're onto something. And then, of course, when he approached me about the idea of doing a movie right towards the end of that tour, he sat me down, just the two of us, and was bringing up his thoughts about wanting to do a film. And I said, that's amazing idea. Yeah, I'm totally supportive of that if that's the direction you want to go next. So when it actually came to fruition, I almost didn't believe it, though, because I thought, he's getting popular, and 1999 we sold double platinum by that time, and I was thinking, I don't know what kind of actor he is. I'm thinking, what kind of actor is this guy going to be like? I knew he's funny. I love his sense of humor. I knew he could probably act if he worked at it. And then I thought, okay, well, what's the story going to be? This is going to be like his Hard Day's Night. I mean, this is like something you're doing like at that level. And I wasn't skeptical, but I was concerned, because I thought, are they going to even give him a movie to do? Because is he popular enough? I mean, he's not quite Mick Jagger yet, who was doing movies at that time already, or David Bowie, or Elvis Presley, for that matter. The rock stars that had done movies. I'm thinking, okay, so he wants to get into that side of things, which is great, but can he pull it off? So, and he almost did not get the film made because of Warner Brothers pushed back on it big time.
Really?
Not only the label, but even the movie people. So they said, okay, we understand how, we know we believe in Prince. He's an amazing talent, but we're not sure he has the following yet to pull this off. But if you guys want to take the risk, we'll go 50-50 with you. So they went 50 with Prince's management, Cavallo, Ruffalo, Farnoli, on the budget. And that's how they pulled that deal off. From what I understand, I'm not 100% sure, but that's how that came to be. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that not happening. The movie. It's I can't even imagine.
Well, he's a force of nature. He would have made it happen come hell or high water. I knew him so well at that point. I thought, this guy's not going to take no for an answer anyway. He'll find a way to do it, no matter what. So they just knew that too, because they knew him too. And they thought, all right, well, here's a compromise. Let's see if he'll go for it. And he did. And it was really the management putting their money where their mouth is, So.
Indeed. Matt, I don't think a lot of people know that you played in MPG for a while.
I did a 4-year stint with the very first version of the MPG. So that was Sign of the Times tour, Love Sexy tour, and what was called the Nude tour. And those all encompassed the albums, including the Batman album, and Graffiti Bridge, for that matter.
Absolutely.
At that point,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the Batman record is amazing.
Oh, one of his best. And it doesn't get enough. It doesn't get quite enough attention for some reason. I don't know why that is.
I don't either.
And it was probably because it was a soundtrack album. People just, it's like, well, that's not really Prince. It was like a side project he did for Batman the movie, and they don't really look at it as a true Prince album because it's Batman affiliated songs about Batman.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from an artistic standpoint, phenomenal. Absolutely one of the most brilliant records he's ever done, bar none. It's right up there with Sign of the Times, 1999, Purple Rain. He everything he knocked it out of the park. All that whole era, he was knocking those albums out of the park.
What's your favorite album?
Boy,
I know that's a good question.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Try.
Let me change the question then. We won't do that. I won't do that to you. That's terrible.
Okay.
And I won't make you say one. Maybe 2 or 3 songs that you really love to play. Like, oh, you got excited when you saw that on the set list. Brought you joy.
What's that?
It brought you joy when you played it.
Well, I love When Doves Cry. I like anything that's a challenge keyboard wise, like Lady Cab Driver, Head, because I wrote the solo for that one. Funkiest song on the planet, and it so funky. And then you go to When Doves Cry. Did I say Lady Cab Driver first?
Yes, you did.
Cab Driver, Head, Doves Cry, and there's another one in there somewhere. I like anything with keyboard solo work. I enjoy doing solos. I don't know. I liked anything off of Around the World in a Day. Anything off of there. I love the songs like The Beautiful Ones, or Mickey. Those just throw me right out the window there with that, And then there's Computer Blue, anything off Purple Rain, for sure, because that was such a collaborative effort too with the Revolution. So those kinds of things, I really enjoy that.
How long were you guys on the road, the Purple Rain tour? You guys were out there forever.
That was a 6.5-month tour.
Wow.
And in reality, that was long, but not the way some bands were touring in those days, some of the major acts, because I knew some of those bands because I was fans of theirs.
Mhm.
Also our label mates, like Van Halen and stuff, And I went to see a Van Halen show, and I got to meet those guys after the show. I said, geez, what are you doing now? Where are you going? Well, Eddie says to me, I'm heading home tomorrow for a break. I'll go, really? How long you been out on the road? It's about 8 months. I'm
Wow.
going to have like a week off so I can get back home. And then what are you doing? Well, we're heading out another 4 months. I go, so you're going to be out for a whole year on tour? He goes, yeah, a whole year. A whole year. And a lot of bands would do that in those days. They'd go solid 1 year with, little breaks and stuff. But that's how it worked. They do it.
Yeah, and that was the best way to make money.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
keeps money in your pocket, especially if you're a new artist.
And Prince, he worked so fast and had so many. I mean, it's like the album Around the World in a Day was in the can before the Purple Rain tour ended.
Wow.
In other words, he was working on it during the tour, and it had started it even before the tour, was doing stuff in the studio, and then it was done. And then the Purple Rain tour, once it ended, we thought we were going to do Europe and Japan and Australia. So that would have been 6 months, US, 6.5. And then you would have gone over to Europe probably for up to 3 months. That makes it 9 months. And then Japan for about a month. So you're looking at about a year again of touring.
Wow.
If he had chosen to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't, because his mind was too restless. And it's like, oh my God, do I have to play all this again for another 5 months? It's like he just couldn't do it. I don't know why. Yeah, I have to play new music. I have to move on.
Well, I've heard him say he's always constantly looking forward. He doesn't like to look back. He's always looking forward.
So there he is. That's it.
Yeah.
That's Prince in a nutshell.
So as we close, Matt, I want to thank you for spending some time with me. I'm going to make a statement because I believe, this is my belief, it may not be true, but I believe that we've lost people like Michael and Whitney and others. But I feel like the loss of Prince still lingers and resonates, and there's this vibration throughout the world that is palpable, that we miss him so much. And I think by and large the public has taken this loss harder than anyone that I can remember.
Oh, definitely. Oh my God. Definitely. It to me, it was kind of on a level with when John Lennon passed, when he was, on that level of popularity or reverence from people and how he touched people and all that stuff. Yeah. I thought it was right on that same plane for sure.
And I just think about me personally, being so proud to be a little branch on his tree, because he begat the time, with the time begat Jimmy and Terry, and then Jimmy and Terry begat us. And to imagine being a part of that family, no matter how insignificant, if there was no him, there'd be no career for me and all the people that he helped. And
absolutely, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Who knows where I'd be? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I would have been an artist of some kind or playing with somebody, but who knows on that level, that he brought to everybody. He made you be your best. No question. But anyway, what are you going to say, Darren?
Well, I was going to say, Matt, have you had time to sit back and think about the gravity of the place that you have a part of in music history being affiliated with him? Have you spent any time wrapping your arms around it?
I finally did. Yeah. Like in the last several years, because prior to that, I mean, after leaving Prince and just going off into being a dad and running a studio and doing stuff where I wasn't touring anymore for quite a while I raised my kids. I chose not to be on the road very much. And yeah, I didn't really go back and realize how it really was at times. I became complacent, like I said, and then I always thought, well, it's all him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I deserve some credit, but this guy was it, and I was his side man, and that's how I looked at it in a lot of ways. I didn't really grateful to be a part of him, of his vision, and be his to help him achieve his goals and our goals. I mean, we helped him. I mean, it was my goal too, to
Sure.
you know, do all that with him. Of course, we all were a part of it. But from the creative side, I felt he was the force of nature that drove it by a wide margin over the rest of us.
A force of nature. That's a great way to end it. But by the way, Matt, you
Yes.
still got to have a kick-ass band to play all that stuff.
Say that again?
You still have to have a kick-ass band to play all that stuff.
Yes, you do.
So,
yes, you do.
You know, kudos to you and Wendy and Lisa and Bobby and everyone else that's played for him over the years, because he wrote some challenging stuff and you guys used to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were fortunate to be able to collaborate with him.
Absolutely.
Well, you know,
absolutely.
So, and that's, we're all very proud of that too.
Yeah. I miss him. And I know you do too.
Very much. Yeah.
But I was listening to his channel on Sirius XM, and they played a live version of Head when you brought that up.
Oh, wow.
They had a live recording. I think it was from 80 something, 81 or 80, 82 or something like that. It was, y'all killed it.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Oh, getting late here. It's been a long day.
Yeah. You know, but hey, thank you for taking time and to talk with me. And, you know, I'm hoping to get more people on this thing. And since COVID-19 is here, it makes you do things you've been thinking about for a long time.
Oh, I know. That's right.
Get them started. Dr. Fink, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Darren. You have a great evening and stay safe.
All right. You too, sir.
And all the people out there listening, stay safe.
Absolutely. You're listening and watching Story Behind the Music. We'll see you next time.
Great. Take care. Good night.